You followed the rules, and then everything cracked. No explosion, no chaos, just a quiet shift, like a black swan passing through your life. The dream, the future, the version of yourself you thought would be real suddenly feels wrong. So, if comfort was the lie, what have you been building your life on? Look around for a second. Is this the life you chose? Or just the one you defaulted into? The sunk cost life trap. You've spent months or years building something. Maybe it's a job, a relationship, or a YouTube channel. And it's not working. The views dropped, the motivation vanished. You feel stuck. But you keep going because you've already come this far. That's the sunk cost fallacy. We confuse effort with meaning, like staying in a bad movie just because you bought the ticket, or uploading another video because you already made 50. You say, I can't quit now. But the better question is this still what I want? Not what you wanted last year, not what you imagined in your head, what you want now. Sometimes letting go isn't failure. It's the first honest page in a new story. But what happens when you keep writing a story you don't believe in? The marriage mirror. No one tells you this, but marriage doesn't just change your life, it changes you. At first, it feels like becoming whole. You fit into each other's habits, you share routines, you merge dreams. You finish each other's sentences. But slowly, quietly, you stop finishing your own. He used to write music. Now he just plays the songs she likes. She's expected to hold the house together, clean, cook, be calm, be grateful, and smile while doing all of it. You compromise. Then you shrink. Then you forget what you even wanted before we became us. This isn't just romance, it's psychology. Your brain's self-schema, your internal identity map, starts blending with the person closest to you. That can feel like love, until it feels like disappearance. Marriage can be a mirror. And if you looked in that mirror today, would you still see yourself? It shows you who you are, or who you've stopped being. And if love is supposed to help you grow, what happens when it makes you smaller? The puppet glitch. Not all control looks like control. Sometimes it looks like love. At first, they just care. They want to know where you are, what you're doing, who you're texting. Then it becomes, you're too sensitive. No one else would put up with you. I'm the only one who gets you. That's not love. That's gaslighting. Control disguised as connection. They say love is patient, but sometimes it's strategic. With each step, your boundaries shrink until your world becomes just them. This is dark psychology, a cocktail of manipulation, guilt, and intermittent reward. It doesn't always end in heartbreak. Sometimes it ends in you not recognizing yourself anymore. And sometimes it ends in front of 50,000 people at a Coldplay concert. A CEO and his company's HR head were caught on the kiss cam, while both were in other relationships. The fallout? Public humiliation, job losses, 2 ex-partners blindsided. One thought they were building a future. The other didn't even know the past was a lie. That's the dark part. The betrayal isn't always loud. It's quiet, strategic, rehearsed. So the real question is, are you in love? Or are you being rewritten by someone else's script? The comparison glitch. You don't want what they have. You want to feel how they look. That's the trick. We don't compare things. We compare status. He's not smarter. He just says it with confidence. She's not happier. She just edited it better. Social media didn't invent comparison, it just put it on a feedback loop. Psychologists call it upward comparison bias. Your brain skips over equals and looks straight at people with more. More beauty, more money, more praise. And then it asks, why not me? You scroll past someone's birthday yacht. You're eating leftovers in sweatpants. And somehow, your entire self-worth gets questioned by a photo with 128 likes. But comparison has no finish line. Even if you win, you still lose. So ask yourself, if no one could see your life, would you still want it? The cognitive bias glitch. You meet someone with a firm handshake, a clean shirt, and a deep voice, and you instantly assume they're confident, smart, trustworthy. That's not logic. That's the halo effect. Your brain sees one good trait and fills in the rest. You scroll the news and nod along to what you already believe. That's confirmation bias. Your brain craving safety in what's familiar. You hear a big number at first, and every number after feels smaller. That's anchoring bias. The first impression sticks. These aren't rare flaws. They're everyday shortcuts your brain uses to feel safe and right, even when it's wrong. You don't see what's true. You see what your brain finds comforting. The simulation glitch. You felt your phone buzz, but nothing was there. That wasn't a mistake. It was your brain trying to help. It expected connection, so it created one. That's phantom vibration syndrome, your nervous system hallucinating touch because it couldn't handle silence. Or maybe it was déjà vu, a new moment your brain accidentally tagged as a memory. It wasn't familiar, it just felt like it was. Because your brain doesn't show you reality, it builds one. It filters, edits, compresses, just enough to keep you moving. But once in a while, you catch it in the act. And if you can feel a buzz that never happened, if you can believe a memory that isn't real, what else are you trusting that was never real to begin with? The first lie. When someone asks, "Who are you?" you answer with a name, a job, a personality type. But none of those are you. They're masks. You're not one person. You're many. There's the version you show your parents, the one who texts at 2 a.m., the one you buried to survive. Your brain doesn't have one self. It has multiple modes, shaped by context and survival. You're not fake, you're adaptive. The real glitch? You've been taught to pick just one version and live inside it forever. Joe Goldberg picked one version, and we all know how that turned out. Maybe the most honest version of you is the one that changes. And if that's true, who might you become if you stop trying to stay the same? You smile when you want to say no. You say yes to things that don't fit anymore. You keep showing up for versions of yourself that no longer exist. That's identity debt. The emotional interest you pay for not updating your story. The job, the goal, the relationship. You pretend it still fits because change looks expensive. But slowly, you start feeling like a stranger in your own life. And one day, you wake up and ask, who even built this? Habit loops. You open your phone to check the weather. 3 minutes later, you're watching someone cut soap for 4 hours. That's not a lack of discipline. That's a habit loop. Cue, routine, reward. Once the loop starts, it doesn't ask for permission. You don't need more willpower. You need a better system. Change the cue, swap the reward, and you don't just break the loop, you rewire the person who lives inside it. The 80-20 glitch. Most of what you do feels productive, but most of it isn't. That's the 80-20 rule. Roughly 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. So we stay busy, not to succeed, but to feel like we're moving. You organize your desktop, you respond to emails that didn't need answering, and for a moment, you feel in control. You spend 2 hours editing a Canva thumbnail, instead of replying to the one email that could actually change your life. Deep down, you're avoiding the only task that actually matters. It's not productivity. It's distraction. So if your day feels full, but nothing's really moving, maybe the real problem isn't time. It's direction. The 90-10 rule. You say, I made a logical decision, but neuroscience says 90% of your decision was emotional. Logic came in for the final 10% to clean up and make it sound smart. Emotions travel faster than thoughts. By the time you think you've decided, your body already has. You say, I'll think about it, but your gut already screamed no. Now your brain's just playing lawyer, building a case for a decision that's already been made. That doesn't make you irrational, it makes you human. Feelings aren't flaws, they're data. Ignore them and they'll drive blind. Understand them and they'll guide you. Quick test? Think about your last big decision. What feeling hit you before the logic kicked in? The happiness trap. You hit the goal, you got the thing. You should feel complete. But instead, it fades. That's the trap. Nothing ever feels enough because your brain resets the bar. It's called the hedonic treadmill. No matter how high you climb, your mind adjusts the view. So you chase the next thing, and the next. Money, followers, abs, approval. But happiness doesn't live in arrival. It lives in pursuit with meaning. Chase joy, and it runs. Sit still long enough, and sometimes it finds you. The sleep glitch. Sleep isn't rest, it's repair. During deep sleep, your brain shrinks, just enough for cerebral spinal fluid to rinse out waste. Brain laundry. Miss that stage? You're not just tired, you wake up groggy, confused, like your brain forgot to reboot. Then it gets worse. That falling feeling? That's a hypnic jerk. Your brain thinks you're dying, so it jolts your body awake. Or you wake up paralyzed, eyes open, body frozen, and the shadows move. You try to scream, but nothing happens. Your brain says run. Your body says no. And that shadow? It's probably your hoodie. Unless it isn't. It's not a ghost. It's your survival system, glitching in the dark. So if you're sitting there, groggy on a Sunday morning and nothing feels quite real, maybe your body woke up, but your mind stayed behind. The backward law. You want to fall asleep before something big, so you try harder, and your brain, it chooses that moment to remind you what you said in 2014. That's the backward law, as Alan Watts puts it. The more you pursue something, the more it escapes. Love, sleep, confidence, clutch too tightly, and it slips. Relax your grip, and it returns. This isn't laziness, it's paradoxical wisdom. Sometimes, the bravest thing isn't trying harder, it's stopping the chase. The egg glitch. What if this isn't your first life? What if you've lived them all? Every face you've loved, every person you've hated, every stranger who's passed you on the street. That's the idea behind the egg theory, a thought experiment that says you're not one person among billions, you're one person living all lives one at a time. To learn, to evolve, to understand. So when someone hurts you, it was you. When someone saves you, that's you too. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter, because once you look at the world like that, something strange happens. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start wondering, what am I supposed to learn from being them? The Stoic Reboot. The Stoics had a phrase: control what you can, endure what you must. They didn't seek happiness, they built strength. They didn't avoid discomfort, they used it. You can't control the storm, but you can still hold the wheel. So, if the simulation glitches, if the past feels fake, if the love turns to control, if even your own memories betray you, remember, your mind is still yours. Your actions are still yours. And that's enough to write something real. One last thing. There's a hidden glitch we didn't name. If you caught it, you already know.